In this video, I have a subscriber request, which is how to be more social while doing well in school, and will your social life affect your grades in school? So I did do a video on this, but I guess I'm going to do another one because that one was missed. So this is a fresher one. If you have a question, try searching my YouTube channel first. I have over 1,000 videos. I probably did a video on it already. However, let's get into this topic. So first and foremost, I want to quote the personal development speaker extraordinaire Tony Robbins. And one thing he says is that, and this is like the main point of his first ever book, Unlimited Power, the big difference to changing your life comes down to taking action. The differences that you see in yourself from others comes down to the different behaviors you take from the average person. So, while simple in theory, obviously it's more complicated. So how do we kind of bring this into more concrete terms with school and social life? Now, I will be the first to say that I never was the most popular or socially fluent or even close to that when I was in school. But I do think that as I've read a lot of social skills books and learned and observed a lot of people who are socially skilled, I picked up a couple things here and there. And I've definitely been able to make more friends and stuff because of it. And so I think the first and maybe more important question is, does this affect your grades? Should you take a lot of time to make friendships and relationships, or will this kind of pull away from grades? I think it really depends on to what degree are you social. If you're partying every night and that leads to drinking or drugs and just tons of activities that are too tempting and pull you away from ever doing your homework, obviously, to that extreme, yes, it can affect your grades. But at the same time, I wouldn't suggest being that hermit who just kind of has this extremist view and just says like any social activity is bad, and then you isolate yourself, because those types of people tend to usually do worse in certain ways. For one, they don't have the social intelligence to really do well in their career or even certain elements of school. They're not really charismatic enough during school projects. They can't really do public speaking. They have troubles connecting with people, and this can affect you later in life. I've seen countless examples in life after high school or middle school. For example, I recently heard a story about basically someone I encountered was going through the med school selection process. This is after the first 4 years. Then you get paired with the different schools across the nation, and lots of people go through this process that I've seen or am acquaintances with. And long story short, this one guy was really book smart, scored the highest on all the tests and stuff. He got rejected from all of his preferred choices. Why? Because his social skills were really off. Like, he was very immature and he never developed that street smart social skill aspect of his life. And obviously, no one wants to hang around someone who's weird or off or just has a lot of immature, kind of strange behaviors. So from what I heard, that's why he got rejected. And so you don't want to cut it to that extreme. And even from my own experiences, I think if I could go back and redo high school, I would have definitely been more open. I definitely was too harsh on myself and others around that. I got mad when people were trying to be friendly and social to me and talk to me while the teacher was talking, because especially around sophomore, junior year, I started taking school very seriously, and I realized that everything the teacher said was important, or that's how I thought, because everything they said, usually they're saying something that they would probably test on later. So I would rather listen and absorb that so I didn't miss it, because usually that ended up on the test. And some other classmates, as normal, this is very natural, they didn't have the same mentality. They were just like, I'm bored, I want to talk to you. And unfortunately, I was more rude than I should have been to them. I could have been more compassionate. I would have made more friends. I would have been less of a dick to them. And now I've learned better. I would have been more compassionate. But, it's one of those tough situations where, if you're just not in alignment with some of them and they don't necessarily care as much, then you get into these strange situations. I think a certain level of friendships is important, not just for mental health, but support academically. The right friends, they some of them have the same values as you or similar values, and they can lift you up. They can give you tips and resources, as I did with one of my friends who helped me study, helped me learn about specific SAT resources and forums and stuff that I didn't know about, which dramatically up-leveled my game in that sphere. And then later on in college, there were many supportive, friendly groups out there that formed study group sessions and other things that I was invited to, or I invited them to, or we just kind of connected, and that support network really helped out. So those are the things that really kind of can help you in the long run in many ways. And even if it's not school, I mean, it's important to just have those relationships, because a lot of the times, when you're late into adulthood, sometimes the closest friends you still have are the ones that you met in high school or college. Not always, sometimes you meet them later in life, but that could be a good thing. And sometimes it's just fun and a break to relax and hang out with them and do something like play soccer together or something, maybe once a month, and just recharge your brain and reset your brain and take your mind off school for a bit. And obviously everything in moderation, so you don't want to be partying and goofing off every evening after school. There's a point where you have to draw the line so it doesn't go crazy, but it's definitely helpful. There's all sorts of places that you can meet friends or meet like-minded people or just people you get along with. If you are able to stay after school for those school activities, especially in high school, there's usually a lot of clubs. You could probably even form your own club around a hobby, and you may be able to meet a bunch of people there. I met a lot of friendly people when I took a chance and did something that was intimidating to me at the time, which was to join the track and field team. I met a lot of fellow nerds and people that were a bit awkward, but that was fine because I was a bit awkward and shy too, and met some friendly people. Now, some of them, I've learned over the years, they will only remain as friendly acquaintances. Some of them will never, reach that threshold where they become your best friends or even good friends, and that's okay, I had to kind of over the years learn that, I didn't need to try and force or try and make everyone my best friend. And I long for that, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. And sometimes it happens naturally, and it's not going to happen often. You may only have 1 or 2 or 3 best friends your entire life, and that's okay. And so, you got to put your best foot out there, and I think there's definitely some tips and social skills that even to this day I'm improving on. Because some people say just be your best self and be natural, but when I think about it, there's a lot of times, even to this day, where when I tell myself be natural, it ends up just being me, being that shy, quiet guy in the corner who doesn't talk to anyone, or I wouldn't say that's my best self, but that's my natural state. Because I don't want to get rejected, and sometimes they do disperse when I talk to them or whatnot. So I'm scared. They don't want to talk to me. So why bother? And so I've learned that at least for me, and it's going to be different for every personality type. Some are more extroverted and they have different struggles that they have to work through. You have to find out what's unique to you as a problem, and then work on it. But for me and my personality type, I've learned I have to come in with some level of game plan. Sometimes it's like you need to suck it up, be positive and friendly, and talk to 3 new people. And try not to eject from the conversation until you sense clear body language or signs that they want to leave. In that case, leave. But until then, make active attempts to keep the conversation going. And that was very intimidating and uncomfortable to me, but that's something I still work on, and it helps me kind of actually get out there and meet people. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you're surprised because, wow, that person's friendly. That person has some things in common with you. And then all of a sudden you meet someone who's friendly, kind, nice, and it just warms your heart. When I was leaving high school, there's a couple of people I knew, and they were like, hey, I might not see you again for a while or ever, but I wish you the best and good luck and everything. And it was just very warm and heartwarming to know that there's someone who cared about me and was supportive of me. And that wasn't something I always had. There's times where I didn't have many friends or any friends at all. And so, that really affected me. But now I know that it's important to develop those friendships for mental health reasons. Like it sucks to be lonely all the time. So that's what I have to say about social relationships and friendships. Obviously, they can be helpful, but use your common sense here. If you hang out with the wrong crowd or crowds that clearly lead you down a slippery slope to, goofing off a lot, that's a danger. And some people don't even notice it until it's way too late. And it's important to set those boundaries and really decide, what type of friends you're going to hang around and how often you're going to hang around them. Usually, once you really want to get all your work done first, and usually that means your weekdays are off limits. But then, sometimes on the weekends you still have some free time, and maybe once a month, once every couple months, if you want to hang out with them, or even during school, there's plenty of free time during school, during lunch hour, before the first class starts. So there are times where you can hang out and talk and socialize, and it's not going to detract from anything from work. If anything, it's going to be helpful. Like I've been there where I've been lonely before the class bell rings because I didn't have any friends to talk to, and that sucked. So hopefully that helps you, and best of luck out there. Hopefully that answered your question. If not, feel free to elaborate, and I may do a follow-up video. But hopefully this YouTube video helped you out. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you later on Will's Personal Development Show.